Welcome back to Cooking with Jay. Today we are going to be making steak with roasted potatoes and carrots. Let's get started. The ingredients that we're going to be using today is a New York strip steak. And then for the steak we have a little bit of rosemary, butter, and a whole head of garlic. And then we have the potatoes and these little petite carrots that I got from Trader Joe's. They had multicolor, like 3 colors in the pack. So we're going to use that. Some garlic and some thyme for the potatoes and the carrots. And then a little bit of olive oil. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with putting the carrots. They're already trimmed. I washed them. I'm going to put that in the bowl. And then I'm going to put some thyme on them. I'm just stripping them by taking the top parts and then pulling. It's a hard stem, so it pulls off when you strip it. So I have my carrots with the thyme. And on the carrots, I want to add some olive oil. Enough to coat it. And then some salt and pepper. And we're going to go ahead and toss the carrots with the olive oil, salt, and pepper, and the thyme. And now that they're coated really good, we are going to go ahead and put this in a baking sheet. Now that I have my carrots lying on the baking sheet, I am going to cut my potatoes. We are going to go ahead and prepare the potatoes, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the potatoes in half. And these are a little bit big, so I'm going to cut it in 6. And then once I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of the potatoes and put it in the same bowl that the carrots were in. Now that I cut the potatoes all in 6 pieces and cube them, I'm going to go ahead and add the thyme to the potatoes by using the same method as earlier by stripping off the small leaves from the stem part. I went ahead and chopped the garlic, and I'm going to add this to the potatoes. And then basically to the potatoes and thyme, I'm going to add olive oil to coat. Because we don't want the potatoes to stick to the pan. And then some salt and pepper to season it. I'm going to go ahead and mix the potatoes together. And I will add this to my baking sheet with the carrots. We're adding the potatoes to the baking sheet with the carrots now, and making sure that it is spread out in an even layer, because we want them to get nice and crispy. I'm going to go ahead and pop the carrots and potatoes in a 425-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown, but I'm going to toss it about halfway. While the potatoes and carrots are in the oven cooking, we are going to go ahead and start our steak. So we're going to go ahead, I have the pan on high heat because we're going to sear it off first and then we're going to put it in the oven. So I have that on high heat right now. I'm going to salt and pepper the steaks liberally. And I'm going to go ahead and flip them over and salt and pepper the other side. Okay. So I've been warming up the pan. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil to it for my steaks don't stick. I'm using cast iron. The pan is smoking. So I'm going to place the steaks away from me on the skillet, the cast iron. And I'm going to let this go ahead and sear for a few minutes. Now that the steaks have been cooking for a little bit, I am going to go ahead and flip it over. And as you can see, I got a nice crust on it. I'm going to go ahead and cook it on the other side, but while that's doing that, I am going to go ahead and add my garlic. I clipped my garlic head in half, and I'm going to go ahead and place it down into the skillet. I'm going to basically roast the garlic. And while that is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven for about 10 minutes. And then when we bring it back out, we will put some butter on it and baste it and sear off the other sides of the steak. So the steak has been in the oven for 5 minutes. I have my garlic. I'm going to go ahead and add my rosemary to the pan, and then my 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to let the butter melt, and I'm going to go ahead and baste it with a spoon. While the butter is melting, I'm going to go ahead and render some of the fat on the sides. Which you can do this beforehand, but I decided to do it later. Since the butter has melted, I am going to go ahead and baste the steaks with the butter. And then if you have any garlic, loose garlic pieces, you can put it on top. finished basting the steaks, and it's at the temperature that I want to cook my steaks. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off and let it rest for about 5 minutes. And then I normally put the garlic on top with the rosemary. It gives it a little bit more flavor. So I'm gonna let this sit before I cut the steak. Now that the steak has rested for 5 minutes well, you want it to rest because you want the flavor and the juices to soak back into the steak and redistribute. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the steak on a bias. I like my steak well done or medium well, but you can cook your steak how you want it, but I normally eat it medium well. Just pulled my carrots and potatoes out the oven. The carrots are nice and golden brown, and potatoes are also. I'm gonna go ahead and plate up my meal, and I will be right back.